Disney is done. My friends, let me just start off by saying, get woke, go broke. Disney's latest animation flick, Wish, flops. Box office woes continue. I'll tell you why. The movie is communist. Okay, here's the premise of the movie. I didn't watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I watched the trailer. The general idea is there is a king who can grant wishes to anybody he so chooses. But he decides only some people are deserving of their wishes. And the main character, I guess like his daughter or something, is like, I think everybody should have all of their wishes. Yeah. And then discovers the power to grant wishes or something. And then the king is angry because he's losing his monopoly on power. Get woke, go broke, ladies and gentlemen. This is what Disney has become. They're failing. They have lost over $1 billion of their on their past several movies. The Marvels, the worst box office bomb the MCU has ever seen, and now another bomb. Disney is done. I don't know how you save a brand this tainted and this damaged. But let's read about this, and then we'll talk about Get Woke, Go Broke. TMZ reports another miss from Disney at the box office. The studio's latest original animated movie bombed with moviegoers over the holiday break, marking just the latest flop. Of course, we're talking about Wish with Ariana DeBose as the main character and Chris Pine as the big bad and a bunch of other cute side characters. Unfortunately, none of them were enough to cause because Wish only made $31.7 million through the 5-day weekend. Yo, this is Thanksgiving movie. This is family time. This is crazy. Ticket sales were getting counted as early as Wednesday, but come Sunday, Wish had underperformed. Projections had it pegged at 45 to 50 million. It didn't do great internationally either. Just 17.3 million overseas, bringing its total worldwide haul to 49 million. In layman's term, the film flopped. And it ended up coming in third place behind Napoleon and the Hunger Games prequel. We were looking at movies to go see, and I was like, I don't want to see any of them. They all sound bad. This is not good news for the Mouse House, which usually dominates the Thanksgiving window. Up until last year, when their original animated feature, Strange World, performed abysmally. Ah, yes, Strange World. Once again, another woke piece of garbage. Disney had put out its hits around the time of year, including Encanto, Coco, and others, all of which made a crap ton of money right out the gate. What's strange is that Wish actually got good reviews and great audience reception, so it's unclear what exactly the problem was. It's possible the SAG strike. Oh, please. I'll tell you, the commercials are like communism is good, and people are like, I don't want my kids to see that. It's that simple, dude. You can play any game you want. We got this from Hedge. I like this analysis right here. Let's see. They say Disney's Wish, a theatrical bomb, and the latest in a string of woke failures. Is it time to declare the Disney brand dead? Only a couple of weeks ago, the entertainment giant suffered one of its worst box office showings ever with the failure of The Marvels, a feminist-driven girl boss movie which was widely applauded by social justice advocates, but ignored by the vast majority of the public. The film is expected to lose $200 million to $300 million. Wow. Once receipts are totaled. In a bizarre attempt at maximum cope, the media is hailing The Marvels as the largest ever theatrical opening by a black female director, when in fact, the movie is actually the largest box office bomb made by a black female director. Now, Disney's animated The Wish is set to top that failure, falling well below their predictions. Numerous reports suggest that Wish is opening to empty theaters across the country. Media spin doctors have attempted to jump ahead of the Get Woke, Go Broke accusations with articles claiming the movie is not woke, but more libertarian in messaging. This is, for the most part, a dishonest deflection. The film's producers openly admit their woke methodology in a number of interviews, including their desire to inject diversity and inclusion messaging. While the woke intent is more obscure than previous films, Wish features yet another precocious ethnic teen female named Asha, banding together with her diverse cast of friends to fight a revolution against the white male patriarchy. The main villain, of course, is a white guy named King Magnifico, who rules over the kingdom of Rosas, using the magical power to grant wishes. However, the king doesn't grant everyone's wish, only some. Asha believes it's unfair that all people should have their wishes returned or fulfilled. Perhaps a vague nod to the concept of equity. When Asha finds a magical power that threatens the king's monopoly, he loses his mind with envy and goes full-bore dark side control. Dude, if ever a movie could be woke, this is like they took a big cube of woke and put it in an expeller press and extracted the pure essence of wokeness. A white man who controls the power, and a young, diverse cast decide that they'll steal the power and supplant the white patriarchy that holds them back for no reason. There's also another movie, Elysium. I love Elysium. What a funny movie. First of all, Charlton Copley, awesome. I really, really love, was he Kruger, the bad guy in Elysium? I think Elysium's a good movie, but it is, I do roll my eyes. Elysium, everybody lives in overpopulated squalor. All the wealthy people live in a space station of absolute beauty called Elysium, where they have these machines. When you lay down, can cure any disease, can even regrow your face if it's been blown off. That actually happens in the movie. It's cool. Charlton Copley's character, a grenade goes off, his face is splatters, and they just dropped. And they're like, well, his brain's still working. So they put him in the machine, and it regenerates his face. And he's like, ugh. Crazy. And here's a funny thing. The story is basically, Matt Damon is dying. He gets exposed to radiation. And if he could just sit down in this bed for only a few seconds, he'd be fine. But they won't let him because he's poor. So in the end of the movie, he takes over the machine and distributes these beds to everyone in the world so that everyone can be cured of their diseases. And it's like, dude, this is the communist view of things. There is no such thing as scarcity, they believe. They believe there's no scarcity and everyone can have whatever they want. They can't. Dude, grow your own food. Why don't you? And this is what we see here with this movie. This guy, the white patriarchy, could grant all of your wishes if he wanted. Do you know who did a better job of this? Bruce Almighty. When Jim Carrey's character is like, why have you forsaken me? Then he meets Morgan Freeman, God, and he says, why don't you do my job better? And he says, okay. And so all of a sudden, Bruce has God powers. He can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, but he can't affect free will. And what happens? He starts getting people praying to him, asking for help, and he can't handle it. So what does he do? He says, answer all yes. And what happens? All hell breaks loose. Some people have wishes that conflict with other wishes. Look, you got a sports team. You got the Cubs versus the Sox in the Crosstown Classic. And one guy says, oh, I wish the Cubs win. And the guy says, I wish the Sox win. So what happens? They can't both win. You can't fulfill every wish, and they're not negative things. It's not like one person's saying, I want that person. No, I want that. But no, they're saying, I want my team to win a game. That's fine. It's not bad to wish for your team to win, but they both can't win. Someone has to lose. That's just balance. And this is the narrative. So what? The king is trying to maintain balance, but the propaganda of the movie is the inverse. You know what I think? You know what would really do well? If we took this plot and we made the inverse. We made a movie about a king desperately trying to maintain balance, peace, and prosperity for his people when revolutionaries decide to steal the power of magic and grant all of the wishes. Here's my version of which would generate $1 billion. The honorable king serves his people well, but there's a group of revolutionaries who think we should have the power to control the wishes because we're smarter. And they stage a coup. And the evil vizier, hey, wait, this sounds kind of like Aladdin, says, I will take the power. And the king is supplanted. Now in Aladdin, the sultan was kind of dumb. But then the king is down and out, and he's out of his castle, and he's like, my country is falling into ruin. There's chaos. Everyone's getting everything they want, but it's causing imbalance. There's a lack of food. Inflation is through the roof. People are beginning to riot. And he was like, yes, there were problems under my rule, but we worked as hard as we could to solve them. And then a ragtag bunch reclaim the throne and push out the communists, and the people cheer for the return of the king who saves the day. I think that will make a lot of money. And then they'd be like, we didn't understand. You look at Zimbabwe. They kick out all the farmers. Then they all start starving. Then they bring the white farmers, by the way. Then the white farmers come back and they all start cheering. There you go, Disney. This is the movie you made. They said, while the story arc could be interpreted as criticism of centralized governance, the greater plot is far more socialist. The evil king is overthrown by the power of collective love. The queen sides with the revolutionaries and rules in his place, and everyone gets access to equal wish fulfillment. It's a woke carnival sideshow. Critics also argue the film is mostly unoriginal, with an endless list of nostalgia references and characters' ideas stolen from better movies from decades ago. The most common reaction, it's boring. It's been the MO of modern Disney for some time now. They dig up the bones of the previous successes and try to reanimate them instead of making something new. Let me tell you, Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, classic story. Yeah, Through the Looking Glass. They made that. Snow White, classic story. You see, a lot of the Disney movies were classic stories that were then retold. Disney had some originals, of course, and they succeeded Very much so. Aladdin is great. Street rat. The vizier is trying to overthrow the king. What's the narrative here? That a wish didn't make him the prince and that he himself was worthy even if he was a lowly street rat? And then ultimately he makes a sacrifice to free the genie instead of saving himself. Such good messaging. Well, Disney, get woke, go broke. I'm fine with it. Angel Studios is doing really well. Daily Wire is doing really well. And they're not doing cringe Christian old school stuff. I remember back in the day, the Christian shows you'd like roll your eyes at. Now you've actually got good quality family content and entertainment that is not overly indoctrinating and religious. There's the new movie Shift by Angel Studios is coming out this Friday. And there's a scene, and it's awesome, where the story is a guy is ripped from his reality by the benefactor who says, if you work for me, I'll send you home and give you your life back. And the guy refuses. And there's a scene where he starts praying. And the bad guy is like, are you actually praying? And the guy just ignores him and keeps praying. Angel Studios brought up that there are a bunch of movies where people pray and it was considered normal. And now there's questions of people being like, why are you having him pray? That's so weird. No, I am not Christian. But the scene where the villain is like, stop praying, stop, listen to me. I thought it was powerful and amazing. It's not about whether you believe in God. It's about his defiance. There's a man before him who has stripped him of his life and says, only through me can you get it back. And he says, don't know, don't care. I'm going to ignore you. An act of defiance that I thought was great. Religion is a component of it. I'm sure a lot of Christians really like it. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. And guess what? I bet it's going to do well. I bet it's going to do well. I don't expect these new Angel Studios movies to make $1 billion like the Disney flicks because they're building something new from the ground up. But I do expect Disney to keep failing as long as they keep going. South Park made fun of them. I'll leave it there, guys. Sorry, Disney. Get woke, go broke. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.